Here's how you make some delicious torpedo rolls, even if you've never made bread before. We start with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. If it's your first time doing this recipe, or you're scooping straight out of the compacted bag, start with 3.5 cups, because you can always add more flour, but you can't really take it out. We have 1 3/4 cup warm water, which is around 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Add a tablespoon of sugar, to which the yeasties are like, and 2 1/4 teaspoons yeast, which we're going to mix in with the water and the sugar. Since I'm using instant yeast, I can dump this straight in with the flour, but if you're using active dry, it needs about 5 minutes to wake up, at which point you're going to check for foam or the smell of beer. If either of those are true, you are good to go. 1 tablespoon of salt. Give it 20 stirs. And now we have shaggy dough. Because it's really difficult to stir, we're going to switch to spatulas, where we scoop from the bottom, flip the spatula, and punch. Do 20 of those. The bits and bobs have become one with the dough ball. Now hit a clean surface with some kitchen lube. We're gonna knead her 100 times and you're gonna rock it. Palms out, into the dough, lean forward, peel back the top, turn it a quarter, boom, that was 1. If it sticks to you too much, go ahead and add half a teaspoon of flour. 1 minute, 25 kneads. 2 minutes, or 50 kneads. 3 minutes, or 75 kneads. 4 minutes, or 100 kneads. Not super smooth, but not lumpy. If you're doing this by hand and it's still super lumpy, give it another 25 kneads and you're good to go. We gotta prep her nap location. Put a teaspoon of oil into the bottom of the bowl and rotate her in the oil, lathering her up like you love her. Cover and put her somewhere warm. Woohoo! She's doubled in size. We're gonna get her onto a clean surface. Gently pat it so it's even. This makes 6 or 8 rolls. I'm gonna do 6 today. We're gonna do our first shaping. Take your hand, put it over your dough, and then go in a circle. You're pressing down so that your fingers are almost touching the surface. Dough may wanna leave and you say nay, nay. The reason we're not putting down flour is because we want the dough to stick a tiny bit to the surface so that it's easier to do the swivels. Do 10 swivels per dough ball. Then put it on a parchment lined pan. Parchment paper to keep the dough from sticking, and then a towel over top. We're gonna let this sit for another 30 minutes. The top is slightly drier than the bottom. You put the top down first. That will keep it from being as sticky. Then pat. And now roll. Pinch the seam shut so it doesn't split open while it's baking. Roll it over. If it sticks like this, don't worry, you can take a knife, gently pry it off. Now on the ends only, give it 3 to 4 rolls, and you have this odd shape. Last time, it's gonna take a nap for 45 minutes, so we're going to cover. With 15 minutes to go, set your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Woo! Give them a little sprinkle of flour. Because there's moisture inside the dough, as it bakes, there's going to be steam that wants to escape. To give it a direction, that's why we score dough before we bake it. Put an oven-safe pan with 1/2 inch to 1 inch of water or a bunch of ice cubes in it. Create steam, which will ensure that there is even baking and a super delicious, crusty, crunchy crust. Let bake for 20 to 25 minutes. I'm gonna give them another 2 just to get a little darker. Woohoo! If we flip these over and tap them, it sounds hollow, which is good. That's nice.